It's called Sympathetic Students in Support of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. I want to raise funds to send overseas in humanitarian efforts to help the widows and the children of people who have died over there in the Islamic State. One of the things they really need is flashlights, because a lot of the facilities have been destroyed, so there's not a lot of electricity and power. And then also too, a lot of the fighters, they can't see at night, so people are attacking them and they can't see at night, and because they're so poor, they don't have night vision and stuff.
Yeah.
So they wanted flashlights so that they could better protect themselves.
And I mean, once you start talking bulk shipments, the ones that Costco is talking about, that's thousands of dollars.
Many countries are technically in conflict with ISIS. Oh, so you do specifically want to send aid to ISIS?
Well, yeah. So maybe just change the name if I want to have the club. Do you have any suggestions, is what I could call it?
Yeah, we talked about maybe saying in the Middle East as opposed...
Sympathetic Students for...
In support of the Middle East.
Okay.
As opposed to having the ISIS.
Yeah.
The next stop on the Project Veritas College investigation tour was Barry University in Miami, Florida. We told administrators we wanted to start a pro-ISIS club.
Okay.
Our investigator is actually an honors student at the university.
How can I help you, Laura?
I just have some questions about a new club. What do I need to do to start a new club on campus?
To be a recognized club or organization on campus, or even just registered, you need to fill out a roster with at least 10 people.
Okay.
You need to get a faculty staff advisor form. You need to have a constitution. And the last sheet is a new club registration form.
Okay. Yeah, because I filled out some of the stuff on here, and I wanted to start a humanitarian club on campus. Do you think the name's okay? I mean, because I don't want it to be too political, for sympathetic students in support of the Islamic State.
Is this a club you are creating?
I want to create it because it's
Gotcha.
humanitarian. So what I want to do is, it's called Sympathetic Students in Support of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. I want to start fundraising efforts on campus. And what I want to do is raise funds to send overseas. Do you think that's okay?
I'll have to
Call it that, the
run
name, or
past-
what would you recommend?
It doesn't have Barry University in there.
So maybe just take out the Islamic State part so that people don't think we're supporting terrorists.
They're gonna. Yeah, because whenever people think Islamic State, what does first come to mind?
I mean, I guess terrorists, but that's the thing. We're trying to help these people, because there's a correlation. So they are terrorists, but
Yeah.
we're trying to help them. We're trying to educate them and give them, funding so that they don't have to be impoverished and get involved in, acts of violence.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. I mean, they are, but we're trying to help them.
Our journalist cited a recent statement by State Department spokesperson Marie Harf about poverty leading to terrorism as justification for starting the club.
They're taking the approach where you should create jobs and help promote education in the Islamic State, because that's what helps reduce terrorism. So how do you get funding?
So in order to get funding, you need to be a recognized club or organization.
According to Mr. Blay, our pro-ISIS club could potentially receive hundreds of dollars of support from the university.
You think I could get it approved? Since this is, it's okay with you. I mean, you're the director. Do you think all I need to do really, as long as I get the advisor who I'm going to go speak to today, and then the students, and I can make a constitution, I can start the club?
Yeah, we're not here to limit people in their clubs.
Okay.
If there's a demand or a need for an interest that students have to do this, we're here to support that. So, but I would recommend maybe coming up with one or two other possible names just in case this one does not get through. The buck doesn't quite stop with me, but like I said, we are here to encourage clubs to create these organizations of interest. So if you've got, like you said, you've got people who are interested and this is something you want to take and run with, we're here to help you get that done.
One of the things I want to do with the club, the sympathetic students, in support of the Islamic State, is I want to raise funds to send overseas in humanitarian efforts to help the widows and the children of people who have died over there in the Islamic State. So, for example, we could send them care packages, and then they could have pencils and stuff. Does the school have resources? Do they donate pencils or computers or
You
things.
would probably have to speak to, we have the bookstore.
We asked if the club could represent ISIS at the school's annual Festival of Nations.
So like for next year, example, like if people want, when the club is created and we get funding, could we have like a table at Festival of Nations?
That would be a perfect event for what you're kind of true bringing education to.
Yeah, and then we could, pass out like Islamic State flags and educate people because, I feel like a lot of people don't understand because they feel like, it's all one-sided in the media, but, it's like deeper than that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the United States has gone into a lot of the communities and really like destroyed people's
Ravaged.
lives, and they're just, like desperate people do desperate things.
When our journalist came back a couple of days later, the topic again was what to call the club, not if it was a good idea or not.
Maybe we could have like a international development club on campus. Maybe that's a name we can call it, international development.
That's, like with a focus on
Yeah.
the Islamic State. I think that's a great idea.
One of the things they really need is like flashlights because a lot of the facilities have been destroyed, so like there's not a lot of electricity and power. And then also too, like a lot of the fighters, like they can't see at night, So like people are like attacking them and they can't see at night, and because like they're so poor, like they don't have night vision and stuff.
Yeah.
So they wanted flashlights so that they could like better protect themselves.
And like once you start talking bulk shipments, like the ones that Costco's talking
Yeah.
about, that's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So
But if they're going to pay for it, like they have companies that like fly, since they do a lot of work in these countries, and they bring it with them, like it's good because we could give them the flashlights and then they can, use them.
Absolutely.
It seemed like the only thing that campus officials had a problem with was the name.
The only issue may be like the name of the club, but
That's what we were
we're-
just talking
yeah.
about. Like, the only reason why is, by all means, we support any student wanting to start their own organization,
Yeah.
especially on a humanitarian note. The only thing is as far as the name, the thing is because, technically our country's at war with ISIS, even though I'm not saying that
Yeah.
at all, that, ISIS represents Islam.
Yeah.
Okay, I completely understand that. But just the
well,
name...
but we're trying to help them, so that's what my group is trying to do. Like we want to send aid to ISIS because we believe.
Oh, so you do specifically want to send aid to ISIS?
Well, yeah, if we send them supplies like, paper and pens and help support like the widows and the children and like send them flashlights so that they can like, see, because like a lot of the infrastructure has been disrupted, then maybe they wouldn't be committing these acts. And so like I don't really want to change the name because that's who we're trying to help. But I just, I know like there's kind of like a bias because we live in the States.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that, people,
Yeah.
just, because, many countries are technically in conflict with ISIS, there
Yeah.
might be just some reservation as far as student wanting to actually participate and assist in that sort of humanitarian effort. That's why it just,
So maybe just change the name if I want to have the club. Like, do you have any suggestions, like, is what I could call
Yeah, we
it?
talked about maybe staying in the Middle East as opposed
Sympathetic students
in
for...
support of the Middle East,
Okay.
as opposed to having the ISIS.
Yeah.
So we changed the name to Students in Support of the Middle East. Then we asked Associate Professor of Communications, Powena Sirimankala, to be the club's advisor.
Yes, don't forget to drop your paper.
So as you discussed and
Oh,
everything,
yes.
I decided to change the name, like, to what you said, the Students in Support of the
Okay,
Middle
Students
East.
in Support of the
And
Middle
so,
East.
like, we're still going to do the same things I told you about, but, like, raising money and
Good.
sending it to,
Okay.
the Islamic State.
I
But,
sign.
okay,
Be glad to do it.
thank you.
Powena.
If we were serious, which we weren't, we would now be all set to initiate our club and start supporting ISIS. Good thing we have these university officials who are there to guide us to do the right thing.